$2,000 a month. That's what the average American retiree is surviving on right now. In cities like Phoenix, Denver, or Miami, that barely covers rent. But in the right parts of the world, that same $2,000 doesn't just cover rent. It covers rent, healthcare, good food, help around the house, a social life, and real dignity. A retirement you actually feel. So why is almost no one talking about what's actually possible? Before I rank a single country, here's what you need to understand. There are two kinds of retirement abroad. The kind you dream about at 62, beach sunsets, adventure, freedom, and the kind you actually live at 78, when your knees don't cooperate and you need a doctor who speaks your language and the power had better stay on. Most retirement content sells you the dream. This video is built on 7 criteria that determine whether it actually works long term. Monthly cost, English usability, healthcare quality, aging practicality, safety, visa reality, and infrastructure reliability. Run every country through those 7 filters honestly, and you get a very different list. Let's get into it. Number 12, Jamaica. Let's start with the one that probably surprised you most just by showing up on this list. Jamaica. I know what you're thinking. Beautiful, obviously, but cheap enough to retire? In the right areas? Yes. Inland Jamaica, specifically Mandeville, operates at a completely different price point than the tourist coast. We're talking roughly $1,400 to $1,900 a month for a genuinely comfortable life. English is the official language used everywhere. Hospitals, banks, government offices, corner grocery stores. The weather does exactly what Caribbean weather is supposed to do. Warm, tropical, consistent, year-round. Here's what most people get wrong about Jamaica. They reduce the entire country to a resort destination. But Mandeville is a real town with a real economy, and critically, a long tradition of Jamaicans who emigrated abroad, built careers, and came back to retire. You're not pioneering, you're joining something that already exists. But I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't say this clearly. Jamaica has documented crime concerns. Healthcare quality is uneven. Infrastructure reliability varies heavily depending on which corner of the island you settle in. The honest verdict? Jamaica works for a very specific retiree. Adventurous, deeply researched, with a strong local network. If that's you, there's something genuinely beautiful here most people never find. For most people thinking about aging long term, the uncertainty is a deal breaker. That's why it sits at number 12. Number 11, Guyana. Now, here's one almost nobody is talking about, and that's exactly the point. The retirees who discover it early are quietly getting an extraordinary deal. Guyana, $1,200 to $1,700 a month, one of the lowest costs on this entire list. English isn't just spoken here, it's the official national language, the actual language of government, business, education, and healthcare. You can move to Guyana and never face the language barrier that stops most people from moving abroad at all. The economy is growing fast, driven by a major oil boom delivering real results since the early 2020s. Georgetown has real modern amenities that are only improving. New Amsterdam offers even lower costs with a genuinely unhurried pace of life. Housing costs are remarkably low. A comfortable apartment that would cost $1,200 a month in a Costa Rican expat town costs $300 here. For retirees on fixed incomes, that gap is transformative. The honest parts. Healthcare infrastructure hasn't kept up with economic growth. Roads outside major cities can be rough. Flooding is a seasonal concern along the coast. And equatorial humidity takes genuine adjustment, heavy and consistent in a way some people simply cannot adapt to. Guyana is on this list because the affordability is undeniable, the English is genuine, and the upside is real. But it's better suited for a pioneering personality, someone who sees value in getting in early rather than needing everything polished. If that's you, one of the best kept secrets in retirement planning right now. Number 10, Fiji. Let's cross the Pacific, because Fiji keeps getting left off retirement lists, and the reason is mostly that people think of it as a honeymoon destination. They're wrong. $1,500 to $2,000 a month. Beautiful, consistent, warm climate year-round, a culture that is genuinely warmly welcoming in a way that goes far deeper than resort hospitality. English is an official language used widely in daily life, business, and healthcare. You will not struggle to communicate. The lifestyle here is slower, deliberately, structurally slower. And for a lot of retirees, that's not a downside. That's the entire point. Places like Lautoka and the outskirts of Nadi offer genuine residential living. Local markets, real neighborhoods, communities where people actually know each other's names. Here's the honest caveat. Imported goods are expensive because of geographic isolation. That cost passes directly to the consumer. Your grocery bill will genuinely surprise you. Healthcare is workable inside major urban areas and noticeably limited beyond them. Serious specialist care, cardiology, complex surgery, would likely mean medical evacuation to Australia or New Zealand. That's not a minor detail to plan around. Fiji wins on lifestyle value, cultural warmth, and the kind of unhurried pace that restores people who arrive depleted from decades of work. It loses on advanced aging infrastructure and specialist medical access. If you're retiring at 62, you're healthy, and you want to live slowly and beautifully, Fiji could be paradise. But as your needs evolve, the geography starts working against you. The island life here is real. Just go in knowing the full picture. Number 9, South Africa. Okay, this one genuinely surprised me when I ran it through all 7 criteria honestly, because South Africa, done right in the right locations, might offer the single best healthcare to cost ratio anywhere on this entire list. $1,400 to $1,900 a month. That is not a typo. And for that budget, in the right South African cities, you can access private healthcare that rivals anything in Western Europe. Modern, fully equipped hospitals, well-trained physicians, many of whom completed postgraduate training in the UK or the United States. English is one of the country's 11 official languages, and it's the primary language of business, media, professional life, and healthcare across the entire country. You will never struggle to communicate. Places like George on the Garden Route, Hermanus on the Western Cape, and Durban North in KwaZulu-Natal are not developing world cities. These are modern, well-serviced communities with solid infrastructure, excellent restaurants, genuinely beautiful landscapes, and growing expat communities that have been quietly building for years. The quality of daily life in these areas, the food, the scenery, the culture, is genuinely extraordinary. Now, the security issue. I won't minimize it, and you shouldn't either. South Africa has genuine, documented crime challenges. They are real. But here's what experienced long-term expats consistently say. With proper awareness, careful neighborhood selection, and the standard security measures locals adapt to naturally, day-to-day quality of life in areas like George or Hermanus is excellent. Not just tolerable, excellent. This is a country that rewards research and punishes carelessness. Retirees who go in informed, choose their locations carefully, and set up their lives thoughtfully often never want to leave. The ones who go in naively and end up in the wrong area struggle badly. The healthcare alone, the quality and the cost together, is worth the research time. There is nowhere else on this list where your medical dollar stretches this far while getting you this level of care. Go in with your eyes open, but absolutely do not dismiss this option. Number 8, Malta. From Southern Africa, let's cross to the Mediterranean, because if you have ever dreamed of retiring in Europe, real Europe, with the history, the food, the architecture, the climate, without paying European prices, Malta is the answer most people have simply never been told to look for. English is an official language in Malta. Not widely spoken, actually official. The entire country operates in both Maltese and English with full fluency. Every government form, every hospital record, every bank document, every street sign, English is there alongside Maltese. You will never feel linguistically lost, not even on day one. Healthcare is excellent by EU standards. Safety is genuinely exceptional. Malta consistently ranks among the safest countries in the entire European Union. The Mediterranean climate delivers warm summers and mild, genuinely pleasant winters. The food is extraordinary. The history, sitting at the crossroads of Phoenician, Roman, Arab, Norman, and British civilizations, is layered and fascinating in a way that rewards years of exploration. The honest reality check for 2026. Malta has gotten more expensive. If you arrived in 2018, it was an obvious bargain, with no asterisks. Today, a comfortable life runs closer to $1,700 to $2,200 a month, and housing in particular has inflated significantly as the island attracts more European remote workers and retirees seeking its stability. Getting comfortably under $2,000 now requires deliberate budgeting. Gozo, Malta's smaller sister island, remains more affordable and has a quieter, more traditional pace. Maliha outskirts on the main island offer better value than central or coastal towns. But here is what you are buying with that slightly higher budget compared to most countries on this list. EU standard healthcare, one of the lowest crime rates in Europe. Complete English operability from day one. Political and economic stability, and a genuinely beautiful quality of life in the Mediterranean. For retirees who prioritize safety and stability and can work with a slightly higher budget, Malta is extraordinary value. It remains the easiest retirement transition into European life that exists. Number 7, Belize. And now we come back to the Americas, to the one country on this list that, for American retirees specifically, feels the least like moving abroad at all. Belize. $1,500 to $1,900 a month. English is the only official language. The legal system is based on British common law. The US dollar is accepted everywhere alongside the Belizean dollar, pegged at exactly 2 to 1. No exchange rate math required, ever. San Ignacio in the inland Cayo district is the most popular retirement spot. Cooler than the coast, surrounded by jungle and Mayan ruins, with a genuine community feel and a long history of welcoming American retirees. Belmopan offers affordability with decent infrastructure. Corozal in the north gives you Belizean prices plus healthcare access in Chetumal, Mexico, with a short cross-border drive. The proximity to the United States matters more than you probably realize right now. When something goes wrong, knowing you're a 2-hour flight from Miami, not a 14-hour odyssey, is genuinely reassuring in a way that's hard to quantify until you actually need it. The hard part? Belize's healthcare system is limited. Serious medical events require evacuation to Mexico or the US, and drift toward the coast, Ambergris Key, and prices spike sharply, blowing the budget entirely. The Qualified Retired Persons Program is one of the more straightforward visa pathways in the region. $2,000 a month in qualifying income, essentially the only requirement. For retirees whose primary fear is language barrier and culture shock, Belize eliminates both entirely. Number 6, Costa Rica. Now here's one that has been on the expat radar for 30 years, and the reason it's still on this list in 2026 is simple. It actually delivers what it promises. Costa Rica, $1,600 to $2,100 a month. One of the most stable democracies in Latin America. No military since 1948. Consistent, peaceful transitions of power, rule of law that genuinely functions. English is widely workable in the major expat zones of the Central Valley. Healthcare is strong, both through the public Caja system that legal residents can access, and through private clinics that are affordable by any Western standard. The Central Valley, specifically towns like Grecia, Atenas, and San Ramon, has quietly become its own thriving retirement community. You can live there for years and manage most of your daily life in English if you need to. American-style supermarkets, English-speaking doctors, expat social clubs, real infrastructure. The kind of daily life that doesn't require constant problem solving just to get through the week. Neighbors who have been where you are. Community that is genuinely ready-made. Direct flights from most major US hubs. About 5 hours from Houston. One manageable flight from Los Angeles. That accessibility is not a minor detail. For retirees who need to travel back occasionally for medical visits, family events, or just to stay connected, short flight times matter enormously. Now, the honest 2026 update. Coastal areas, Tamarindo, Manuel Antonio, Nosara, are no longer budget destinations. If you've read an article from 2017 praising Pacific Coast affordability, ignore it entirely. Those prices have tracked upward significantly. The Central Valley still works well on a moderate budget. The beaches don't anymore. And outside the Central Valley, infrastructure weakens noticeably. Roads can be rough, services become inconsistent. The country that functions smoothly in Grecia starts feeling considerably harder 2 hours east. But for retirees who want tropical warmth, genuine political stability, accessible private healthcare, and a massive existing expat community to immediately plug into, Costa Rica remains one of the most reliable retirement bets in Latin America. 30 years of satisfied expats can't all be wrong. Number 5, Panama. If Costa Rica is reliable, Panama is engineered for American retirees. And I mean that almost literally. The country has built systems specifically designed to attract and keep foreign retirees comfortable long-term. $1,500 to $2,000 a month. The US dollar is the currency, not a pegged currency, not an exchange rate to monitor, the actual US dollar. There is zero currency risk here, ever. Your fixed income from Social Security or a pension arrives and spends at exactly face value. The Pensionado visa is one of the most generous retirement visa programs in the world. Discounts of 20, 25, sometimes 30% on restaurants, utility bills, hotel stays, airline tickets, and dozens of categories of everyday spending. It's not symbolic, it's a real, measurable reduction in your monthly cost of living, written into Panamanian law and actively honored. Private healthcare in Panama City is world-class. JCI-accredited hospitals, American-trained physicians, medical tourism infrastructure that keeps facilities well-funded and well-equipped. The healthcare here genuinely rivals what you'd find in the United States at a fraction of the price. Boquete, the mountain town in Chiriquí province, is probably Panama's most celebrated retirement destination. Large English-speaking expat community, cool and pleasant climate year-round thanks to the elevation, a pace of life that people consistently describe as restorative. Coronado on the Pacific coast. David, the regional hub with full urban services at dramatically lower prices than the capital. Here's what nobody says enough about Panama. It's not just cheap, it's organized. The banking system is sophisticated. The legal system is functional. Infrastructure in the major expat areas is modern and reliable. These things matter enormously when you're building a long-term life somewhere and can't afford daily chaos. The honest downsides? Panama City's costs have risen significantly. Budget living in the capital is no longer realistic. And tropical humidity can genuinely exhaust some retirees in ways they didn't anticipate. In Boquete's mountain air, that problem largely disappears. For a smooth, dollar-based, well-supported retirement in Latin America, Panama is hard to beat. Number 4, Mexico. Now we get to the one that has dominated the American expat conversation for a decade, and it deserves every bit of that attention, when you do it right. Mexico. $1,400 to $2,000 a month. Enormous private healthcare infrastructure, particularly in cities like Guadalajara, Mérida, and along the Bajío corridor. Massive, established English-speaking retiree communities in places like Lake Chapala and San Miguel de Allende, where you can genuinely live for years with minimal Spanish. Direct flights from virtually every US city. Drive across the border accessibility from Texas, Arizona, California, and New Mexico. The ability to visit family without it becoming a major logistical ordeal that exhausts you for days. The medical tourism angle in Mexico is worth understanding properly. Guadalajara has hospitals that American and Canadian patients specifically fly in to use because the quality is excellent and the cost is a fraction of what you'd pay at home. Dentists, cardiologists, orthopedic surgeons, oncologists, the private medical infrastructure is real, established, and used by millions annually. Mérida in the Yucatan has emerged as one of the most talked about retirement destinations of the last 5 years, consistently ranked among Mexico's safest large cities. Cosmopolitan, walkable, genuinely excellent restaurants, real cultural life. The heat is intense. This is not a cool climate, but modern air conditioning makes it manageable in ways it simply wouldn't have been 30 years ago. Here is the honest part you must hear. Mexico's safety situation varies dramatically by region. Some areas are genuinely dangerous. Some are as safe as any American suburb. The catastrophic mistake is treating Mexico as a monolith and choosing a location based on price alone without researching that specific city deeply. Lake Chapala, San Miguel de Allende, Mérida. These have strong, documented safety records for expats. Do the research. And residency rules have tightened modestly in recent years. The process is still doable, but now requires more documentation than it did in 2019. Get it right though? Mexico offers a quality of life that is genuinely extraordinary for the money. Number 3, Malaysia. Here is the one I genuinely believe is the most underrated option on this entire list for American retirees. The reason it stays underrated is simply distance. It's far away, and nobody told you to think about it. That oversight is costing people real money. Malaysia, $1,300 to $1,900 a month. Let me describe what that actually buys you. Private hospitals in Penang and Kuala Lumpur that have attracted medical tourists from across Southeast Asia and beyond for decades. Facilities that are modern, well-staffed, internationally accredited, and priced in a way that makes American healthcare costs feel almost absurd by comparison. This is not developing world healthcare. This is genuinely strong healthcare at developing world prices. That combination almost doesn't exist anywhere else on Earth. English is everywhere in Malaysia, and not tourist English, the language of business, education, government, and professional life. You can walk into a bank in Penang, a clinic in Ipoh, a government office in Johor Bahru, and be served in English without anyone finding it unusual. It's simply how professional Malaysia operates every single day. Infrastructure in Malaysia's major cities is modern. Good roads, reliable electricity, fast internet, air-conditioned shopping malls that function as genuine community gathering spaces, international supermarkets, the creature comforts that make the difference between enjoying retirement and grinding through it day after day. Penang in particular has become a favorite of health-conscious, culturally curious retirees. UNESCO-listed historic city center, extraordinary food. Penang's food scene is legitimately world famous, and the daily cost of eating well is genuinely low. Large expat community quietly building there for years. Ipoh, a smaller inland city, offers even lower costs and a relaxed pace that many retirees find immediately comfortable. The caveat: Malaysia's MM2H retirement visa was significantly tightened a few years ago with higher financial requirements. It's still manageable for most retirees with reasonable savings, but research the current requirements carefully before committing. Kuala Lumpur's costs have risen. Budget retirees should build around Penang or Ipoh. For healthcare quality, English access, modern infrastructure, and long-term livability, Malaysia belongs in every serious retirement conversation. Number 2, Dominican Republic. Now here's the one that surprises people most when they see it this high, and once I walk you through it, you'll understand why. The Dominican Republic, $1,300 to $1,800 a month, 2.5 hours from Miami, 3 from New York. The closest thing to a Caribbean retirement that still makes genuine financial sense in 2026. Flying back to the US, those 2.5-hour flights are nothing. One thing I never skip, even on short hauls, is a proper travel neck pillow. Links in the description. Small habit, real difference. So English is widely spoken throughout the major expat zones: Las Terrenas, Santiago, and the Cabarete corridor. well enough that daily life is fully manageable without Spanish. Not official language English like Belize, but real, workable everyday English in the areas where retirees actually settle. The expat communities here are large and established enough that linguistic isolation is simply not a real concern. What earns the Dominican Republic this ranking is the combination almost nothing else on this list can match: Caribbean lifestyle. Genuinely, warmly, year-round Caribbean, at a price point the actual Caribbean almost never delivers. Beaches, mountains, culture, warmth, and a country large enough that you can find your own corner without bumping into tourist infrastructure at every turn. Private healthcare has improved significantly in Santo Domingo and Santiago over the past decade. Modern private hospitals, internationally trained physicians, costs that are a fraction of what you'd pay at home. Specialist care accessible in ways smaller Caribbean nations simply cannot offer. The Pensionado retirement visa is straightforward. Demonstrate a monthly pension income. The threshold is low by international standards, and residency is yours. Documented and manageable. The honest part. Crime and safety require awareness. Not dangerous if you settle carefully, but it demands the same informed approach Mexico does. Choose your neighborhood deliberately. Build local relationships. Caribbean retirement. Real budget. It's right here. Number 1, the Philippines. And here it is, the country that, when you lay all 7 criteria side by side and score them honestly, comes out on top every single time. The Philippines. $1,100 to $1,800 a month. English is everywhere. Not many people speak English. The Philippines has 2 official languages, Filipino and English. The entire educational system runs in English. Television, newspapers, business, government documents, hospital records, English. You can walk into virtually any Filipino hospital, bank, or government office and conduct your entire interaction in English without anyone finding it unusual. This is not an accommodation, it's the national standard. The cultural connection to America is real and deep. Nearly 50 years as an American territory left permanent cultural fingerprints. Entertainment, values around family and hospitality, food chains, and shared pop cultural references that make the adjustment genuinely faster than almost anywhere else. Filipino doctors, nurses, and professionals grew up with the same cultural touchstones you did. That familiarity is worth more than any guidebook can quantify. Private healthcare in Cebu City and Davao is legitimate, affordable, and conducted entirely in English. Specialist care that costs tens of thousands in the US costs hundreds here. Many Filipino physicians completed residencies or fellowships in the US or UK. The quality gap is far smaller than most people assume going in. The SRRV retirement visa is one of the most accessible in the world. Qualifying deposit in a Philippine bank, pension income threshold, and you're in. The process is managed and real. The honest downsides. Infrastructure outside major cities can be inconsistent. Power outages happen. Typhoon risk is real, though Dumaguete and Davao sit outside the primary typhoon corridors. Manila will destroy your budget. Target Dumaguete, Cebu City, or Davao specifically for budget retirement. But no country on this list combines low cost with English everywhere, with American cultural familiarity, with a dedicated retiree visa system, with accessible private healthcare, all in one package. The Philippines doesn't just win on price, it wins on the full picture across all 7 criteria every time. Here's the one thing almost no retirement content ever tells you, and it's the most important sentence in this entire video. The best retirement abroad is not the cheapest one. It's the one that still works for you 20 years later. The retirees thriving in their late 70s abroad all made the same call. Healthcare over scenery, English access over exotic culture, safety over adrenaline, infrastructure over isolation. They picked the boring choice, and the boring choice gave them a beautiful life. Cheap rent means nothing if the nearest capable hospital is 6 hours away. Real life looks like a Tuesday morning when your pharmacy has your medicine in stock and you understood the doctor. That's what you're choosing. Not a vacation, a life. If your dream involves an island specifically, I already made a full video on the best English-speaking islands where Americans can realistically retire without destroying their savings. Same honest criteria, no fluff. It's linked right here. You worked your entire life for the right to retire with dignity. You don't owe it to rising rents or a broken system to stay somewhere that has stopped serving you. The options are real. The people living them aren't lucky. They just decided to look. So look.